So you make one movie, you get one good movie. You make two good movies, two movies. You get two movies. You make three movies, you got three movies.
You
it's
got a
called
trilogy.
trilogy.
Yeah.
You got four, it's called a quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy, yeah.
Quintology.
No, quintology is
it's,
5.
Yeah, but after quadrilogy, so you make 5, you get quintology.
Yeah. Sextology,
At one point you get a franchise because it's just easier to say franchise than
quintology.
Than anything bigger than trilogy.
Yeah.
So we did a top 10 trilogies at some point or something like that, and we figured out we're gonna do top 10 franchises.
Either a few weeks ago or it's coming a few weeks after this.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
We didn't work out a schedule yet, and
I'm sure I have it somewhere.
we'll do it at some
Yeah.
But there's a top 10 trilogies video and there's a top 10 franchises video.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, even though some franchises can be divided into 2 trilogies.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So we got a few of them.
We've got a few honorable mentions first. As always.
As things go, there's a lot of franchises.
Way too many. Way too many, and they definitely
and
deserve a
with
video.
the recent boom in Hollywood, if you would, about remaking old movies, you get a lot of trilogies that are all of a sudden getting reboots or sequels, or so. If you got a 3-movie back in the 80s,
there is requels, so
yeah. So if you do 3 movies back in the 80s, all of a sudden now you have another movie here. So it's 4 movies. You got yourself a franchise.
I'm still hoping for Lethal Weapon 5. They finally got old. They finally got too old for this shit. Excuse my French.
So
it's a movie reference. So
the honorable mention ones, it's
pretty much the same. The only reason they're not on my list is because you already put them on yours. So I was like, we're gonna talk about them anyway.
These are the good movies that didn't make the top 10 for various reasons, but it's really hard not to talk about franchises without mentioning them.
Definitely.
2 of them starts none other than Mr. Stallone himself. We got both Rocky and Rambo.
Yo, Adrian!
Yeah, yo, Adrian. So the thing with Rocky is, I have a friend who said Rocky should have stopped after 1, and Rambo should have stopped after 1, and Rocky should have stopped after 3. But honestly, we got a couple of good ones after that.
Listen,
Rambo didn't go as long as Rocky, but Stallone figured out how to rejuvenate Rocky.
Are we talking about Rambo or Rocky? You can't.
Both of them.
I know, but if you're gonna talk about rejuvenating, I think we should talk about Rambo first because it only got one rejuvenation, so to speak.
Well, he technically didn't get it. He got another movie.
Well, still, it's a Rambo movie. It's a fun movie. I mean, it's a great, nicely packed action Rambo action.
Especially he starts killing some people. A lot of deaths in that one. The machine gun scene, the bow and arrow scene.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to basics. It gives a modern spin. It goes to a foreign country, and I mean,
rescues missionaries.
Yeah.
Kills a lot of people, and you know. Do we get a 5th one? I'm not sure.
I'd love to see it. I mean, he can still make
Rambo, and we saw in Expendables, Stallone can still do action. So you know, we could get it.
Definitely.
Speaking of Rocky, figure out a way how to rejuvenate the franchise.
Yeah.
Because you kind of at one point you had the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and then the 5th one was his. Yeah.
There was an injury in that movie. I can't really remember
There's
the 5th one.
There's a whole thing where it's like...
I remember there was an injury, and that was sort of put an end to it.
Did they do a 5, 6, and then Creed, or was it 5 and then Creed?
It was 5, it was Rocky Balboa, and then it was Creed. And
so the 5th one, he was fighting his quote-unquote student, if I remember correctly.
I forget.
Beat the shit out of him. Rocky Balboa then came out and he kind of unretired
and this was like 30 years after the fact, so or at least 25.
So when Balboa came out, he figured out how to keep it a modern spin,
while still keeping it Rocky.
Still keeping it original, still keeping it general,
still brought
unique.
in some of the old characters too. So Paulie was still
all
alive.
the alive ones, all the ones who were alive at the time. And then he figured out how to redo it again, because at this point Rocky fought everybody he could actually ever find.
Not just Rocky, he found a way to rejuvenate the whole... Yeah, like bring in, not just Creed, but bring Rocky 1 back.
Yeah.
So with Creed,
So yeah, props for that one, and hopefully we get to see another Creed. Just because at this
I
point,
think they're making it. It's just a matter of when the script is gonna be done and
I actually
the scheduling stuff.
I wanted to do our top 10 Stallone movies.
We're
at some
gonna
point.
do them pretty soon.
And there's Creed's top on that list, man, or pretty high up.
Listen,
I think it's one of his best acting roles.
Definitely. When it
And
comes
the
to
way-
his acting roles, it's definitely
And the
one
way
or
he
two,
brought,
maybe even three.
Rocky back, even though he was probably obsolete at that point.
definitely as the character by itself.
yeah.
Rocky has no point doing any boxing.
He's too old at this point. So he's
Yeah.
running a restaurant, and then the Creed Jr. shows up.
Which we
And all
saw
of a
in
sudden-
Rocky Balboa, which is technically Rocky 6, even though it's not,
Yeah.
but whatever. It's only the
Oh, it's the
continuity
same
and
franchise.
same franchise. And yeah, I mean, with Creed and Michael B. Jordan doing such an amazing job. I mean, he's already an established actor, young, but with a bright future in Hollywood as far as we're concerned, and anybody else who watches movies. So, I mean, boxing is not one of those sports that I gravitate to. Even less movies about boxing. I'll watch them, but to me it takes an amount of preparation. So I need to know that they're either coming out or that I'm gonna be watching. And same was with Creed, and we go back to Philadelphia, we go back to the streets. I mean, the scenes, I mean, it's all about nostalgia, but with bringing new stuff in. So if you haven't seen any of the Rocky movies and you want to start summer, I suggest starting with Creed if you want to, and then go and do your way back. I mean, number 4 is still ridiculed in some part of the United States, but to me it is the movie that officially ended the Cold War, so whatever. Yeah, and it's pronounced Drago, not Drago or Drago.
Or Drogo.
Or Drogo, yeah. It's Drago. Ivan Drago, not Ivan. Ivan Drago. He will break you.
Moving on, we have another franchise that spanned 4 movies, a TV show, if you would. And,
Yeah,
might,
it was a pretty good TV show as
and
far as
might
I
get
know.
a sequel.
There is a...
There's
it has
some-
been recently announced that
there's
Arnold,
some thought-
Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming back with James Cameron.
Well, I was talking about the next one on the list, not the last one on
I
the
thought we
list.
already
but-
talked about how I want to see Lethal Weapon number 5 with Too Old for it.
So Terminator, the third one kind of sucked for most people. Actually, it was the first one I watched in the movie theater, and I liked it.
Of the
I
old
loved it.
Terminator movies.
Of the old
yes.
Terminator movies. And then the fourth one came out, and people genuinely didn't like it for some reason, because Arnie was the governor, and he was like, "Why do you do Terminator without
Well, you see,
Arnie in it?" But then you had Christian Bale
Bale.
was in it. Sam Witwer,
Whitwer, yeah.
yeah, was in it. You had a couple of good actors, and they actually put together a great story. I liked the story. Story was in the future.
And you see, to me, the problem was the story itself.
I love the story.
Like, to me, it was like...
Because
because I didn't expect that story. I wanted them to...
Because you always go back. They always go back. They send the Terminator to kill...
Listen, you
and then they
never
send
go
it to-
back. You never go back, man. You should never go back.
But they kept it in the future.
No,
And
that,
you never... And
that
other than a couple of shooting scenes you see in first 3 movies, you have no idea what actually happens in the future.
definitely.
You know stuff
I wanted to
happens,
see
but you
more of
don't
the
know
stuff in
what.
the- I wanted to see more of the stuff in the future.
And they showed you. That's
Yeah.
the road. That's the route
But
they
the
took.
story they took was a little bit disappointing because I expected something a little bit more related to the previous movies.
I loved it. And as much as I loved the 2 and the 5, I actually liked
Listen,
4.
to me,
I think 2 is never gonna get...
T2 is the best movie in the franchise, in my opinion. It's one of the best action movies, sci-fi action movies of all time.
Period.
Period. I mean, seriously. And number 3 was a little bit of a disappointment, not just because James Cameron left, but because he left, I forgot who directed the movie. But to me, they did such a poor job on visual and sound effects, especially the sound effects. That movie, I saw it 3 or 4 times in the theater, and I never paid a ticket for it. People took me to see it. That's the only reason I went to see it that many times. And every time I went, I liked it okay, but I always like those sound effects like annoyed the crap out of me, man.
I don't remember sound
It's
effects. I was too young and I just watched the movie.
no, listen.
And,
There was cool
the,
stuff.
The
they
lead
had.
female looked good.
That was okay. Listen, the female role, evil. female Terminator was pretty cool to me because they're robots only. So
Yeah, but
I don't care
at
in
the
which
end it
form
was a
they come.
downside after T2. All of a sudden you get this, you know.
Listen, Genesis was pretty okay. I
liked it.
I liked it better than most people
I know most
did.
people didn't.
Yeah, it goes all over the place and stuff, but to me it was pretty okay. I never saw Sarah. What's her last
Connor
name?
Chronicles.
Yeah, Connor Chronicles. I never
neither.
saw it, but listen. I'll just take this moment and mention how Olivia Pope's dad is single-handedly responsible for creating a Terminator and a Cyborg now, and I don't know who else. So,
But we're getting a fifth. We got a fifth one. Arnie came back.
no, yeah, fifth one, yeah.
We got
Genesis,
a fifth
yeah.
one. Arnie came back. Emilia Clarke came back-ish.
She was okay in the movie. I liked her as I liked her as Sarah
John
Connor.
Connor went evil. It was a good movie.
It was okay. I liked it pretty okay. I don't think it was
Did
the
we get a
best
sixth
movie.
one?
Yeah, with Arnie coming back, man, and James Cameron directing. It was recently announced.
So we get a sixth one.
Yeah, eventually. James Cameron is a busy guy. He's working on 4 Avatar movies right now. So
Yeah.
I have no idea when we're gonna see Terminator 6 or whether they're gonna reboot the whole thing. Who knows?
But
So
we get a sixth one.
yeah. You want to talk about Lethal Weapon a little bit more?
I want to see how I do the thing with the gun.
Who? Which thing? With the nail gun?
No, it's a quote from the fourth. With Jet Li.
Oh, okay.
I love the Lethal Weapon franchise. They also got a TV show.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
also getting a fifth
Which
movie.
is actually pretty good.
They should get a fifth movie. They're getting a fifth movie.
I have no
There was
idea.
some talk about making the
It's
fifth
all
movie.
rumors anyway. I don't think it's gonna happen,
And
but I would love to see
I'd
it.
actually love to see Donnie Glover and Mel Gibson get back in there.
And Joe Pesci! Come on, man. You think I'm funny? How? In what way? How am I funny? Come on, man. He can hook you up with all kinds of different stuff. He
And
can find you a lawyer too.
seeing what they did with the TV show, there's actually hope that they can make a good story for the fifth one. Hopefully they make it. I hope they make it. I'll be the first one.
I'd love to
it,
see
man.
Donnie Glover and Mel Gibson cameo in that TV show, man. That would be totally bonkers.
Your honorable mentions list.
It's only one simply because all the ones that I wanted to put, you already put before me because you made your list first, but it's gonna be Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan is this franchise that isn't really a franchise. I mean, it's all based on Tom Clancy novels. So basically it does follow one character.
There's 21 novels.
Yeah, and every time he's in the movie, I mean, there's a different guy
We got
playing
a
him with the exception of
separate-
Harrison Ford, who plays him, I think, 2 times. So
And Alec Baldwin actually does the best job.
that-
But I
and
think he
Chris
also.
Pine,
But I think
was it Chris Pine in the last one? He
Yeah.
also did a great job.
But I think that also Alec Baldwin got the best villain and the best movie. I mean, even not really
He
a
got
villain.
both.
He got antagonist. I mean, Sean Connery playing the Russian
Dude, that whole
captain with Sam Neill.
looking at them,
the best
watching the
movie.
definitely, man.
Even now, they made it in what, 1990.
Late 80s or early 90s,
So you're looking at almost what, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
So you're looking at least 25 years ago. They make a movie, and it's still, if you're looking at Jack Ryan franchise, older movie, you're looking at the best movie. to
Yeah,
date. So
1990.
1990.
Almost
So you're
30
looking at
years
27
old.
years.
Yeah, 27 years.
Later, that's still the best Jack Ryan movie.
Definitely. Even though the other ones aren't anything to laugh at, or even the, this.
Harrison Ford did too. And then was
Patriot
it Ben,
Games
then was it
and,
Ben Affleck?
There was a Ben Affleck one, and then Chris
Also
Pine.
good, and then Chris Pine, and he also had a good antagonist in Kenneth Branagh.
Definitely. You can't go wrong with Kenneth Branagh. You never do.
And
man.
that kind of, listen, when you get a good story, and if you write 21 books, you're looking at probably a good story, at least one that sells. So when you transfer it to the movie screen, as long as you have the right actors, I would say you can actually hit it off.
Yeah. Harrison Ford was in Patriot Games and Some of All Fears, I think, and Ben Affleck was in the Clear and Present Danger. So, and we got Alec Baldwin in Hunt for Red October and Chris Pine in, I actually forgot the name, Spy something or
Yeah.
other. Anyways,
Kevin Costner was in that one.
yeah.
So those
He
are- you
was
see when-
Sandler, if I remember
So if you
correctly.
put a good cast together, then all of a sudden you're looking at, and the female, I can't remember who she was in Chris Pine movie, Keira Knightley or someone. I think it might have been Keira Knightley.
What was the name?
But you're looking at a good cast, and when you bring a good cast together,
Mm.
usually these movies work.
Shadow Recruit.
Shadow
Yeah,
Recruit.
I knew it was Ghost or Shadow or something. We got Kenneth Branagh directing it and Keira Knightley. You're right, man.
So you're looking at a good cast, and then
And Gemma Chan is also playing someone. I don't know.
so you're looking at a good cast, and then all of a sudden the movie makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually makes a better movie. But I think
You
Hunt
can
for
have
the-
a good movie without a good villain.
But I think Hunt for the Red October is definitely always going
To
to be
me, it's
remembered as the
all-
best Jack Ryan movie.
Definitely. It was the first and it is the best. So, yeah. So we do this as 10 to 6. Then we go 5 to 3 and 2 to 1. We never do these together. I mean, we never compile our list. We always compile our
usually
list
different.
separately. Sometimes we get same movies on the same spot, but that is always by accident, so to speak. So we never plan for this. So you're number 10.
My number 10 is Die Hard. One of, if I could, I'd put it at number 1. Because if I got to binge watch any of these franchises, other than my 1 and 4, I'm doing Die Hard because you cannot go wrong with Bruce Willis and blowing shit up. It works. Even when he phones it in the 4th and the 5th one.
I agree.
The
I
movie
agree.
still works because there's a lot of explosion. He goes around, he kills a ton of people, blows up half of Russia. At least in the 5th one. Just, you can't go wrong with it. And the first one is still classic Christmas movie.
By far, man. Second one is also a classic Christmas movie in Croatia. So for
Yeah.
some reason they always play it on TV at Christmas time. So we watch a lot of Die
You
Hard
get
too.
Die Hard and you get Home Alone.
Yeah. And
Now, if you could put them together and have Bruce Willis kill a McClurkin kid, that'd be fun. Maybe they can do that. Put Die Hard and Home Alone together.
listen, Die Hard number
6
one is
years later.
always gonna be one of the best action movies of all time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't go, like I said, I love Bruce Willis, you can't go wrong with it.
definitely. What's your number 9?
Jason Bourne.
Okay, I gotta agree with Jason Bourne.
Here's the thing you have to know about Jason Bourne. So there's a series of 3 books written by the Mr. Late Robert Ludlum.
Who co-wrote it with one other guy?
Eric
One
One something. Here's the thing. When Ludlum stopped writing or when he died, I'm not sure which one, Eric kept on writing.
Not really.
Yeah, there's like 13 books.
Yes, but they all came after in 2004 and
Yeah,
afterwards.
no, they're
So it was like
new
20
works.
years,
But here's
24 years after the fact. After they wrote the last Jason
and
Bourne
while
novel.
the Jason Bourne started off as a book adaptation, at one point they say, you know what, scrap that. There's books still coming out. We just stake the names and we switch the story. That's why the story in the movies doesn't add up to the story in the book because it's not the same.
I'm not going to
they-
go into all of that because
they
that's
do-
irrelevant.
They just, that's your gripe with it because they're
No,
not,
my gripe with it is that they keep making movies based on books that were written after the movies started coming out, and the same guy who was co-writing it with Robert Ludlum simply decided to cash in on the fact that they are making movies, so he decided to write more books so they can keep making movies based off those books.
No, they're not making movies based on those books. They're writing their own story. Every story in the movie,
Even worse. Even worse.
they just took the character's name and they write their own story.
To me, once
Not even the first 3 follow the book.
they follow the books to a degree. But-
Maybe first 2. Third
No.
one has nothing to do with the book.
Okay, as just a little bit, but not too much. But okay, listen, dude.
You don't have to like it, but I mean, they,
no. I like the
When
movie.
Mark-
I like the 3 movies. Matt Damon, great Jason Bourne. After that, I'm done with the franchise. To me, it's not a franchise. To me, it's a trilogy. Everything else,
we're
I'm not
gonna
interested
disagree
in.
on that one because both.
I mean, it is a franchise, but one I don't care
both
about.
Jeremy Renner movie and the latest Matt Damon one They're both good
Yeah,
movies.
I haven't even watched that one, and I don't even care that Matt Damon's in it. So you know how much I care about that franchise, just for the first 3 movies. So
Well,
I may
we have
watch
to
it
agree
eventually.
on-
I
we
may
have to
watch it
disagree on
eventually,
that
but
one.
not right now, man. So yeah, that's my gripe with it.
Number 8, Mission Impossible.
Why is this so high on your list, man?
Because I couldn't put it higher. Otherwise, it'd be higher. How can you not like Tom Cruise doing stuff?
Listen, do you remember when we used to rewatch when we went to our uncle's VHS library and we took 3 movies out of it? One of them was Mission Impossible. Yeah, the first one. And nobody has ever seen those movies that went to our classes with. And when Mission Impossible 2 came out, people were starting to like get all hyped up about the movie because of the trailers. And when I asked my friends, like a bunch of them, when I asked if they ever watched Mission Impossible 1, I was like, what is that? That was the question, like, what is that? Does that even exist? Like, I was the only person.
For
like,
some reason, the first one kind of flew under the radar.
I don't know why. I don't know why, man.
And it's safe to say it's probably the best one in the franchise.
And it has that one iconic scene with Tom Cruise hanging off the rope in the safe, which has been copied and
in every movie and a
Yes.
whole bunch of other movies that have nothing to do with Mission Impossible. Plus there's the helicopter or train and the tunnel scene.
and
It's
dude,
it's
it's a
probably
fun
the
movie.
best movie in the franchise. But it was made back in the day, and then when.
Listen, Brian De Palma did a great job with it.
But here's
I
the
mean,
thing: when Tom Cruise or whoever decided to keep the franchise going
I'm
after
sure it was
whatever,
Tom Cruise.
it was probably like 20 years after the first one came out, or at least 10.
Less. It was less than that. It was 3 or 4, I think.
Probably more between the first one and the second one.
Yeah, it was like. I'll tell you. Hold on. So 1996 was the first one, and the second one was in the 2000 and something, I think. Let me check. 2000.
Oh, yes, so 4 years.
So it wasn't
made.
that big of a gap, so to speak.
But there was a boom in the industry. If you would, all of a sudden special effects became a lot more popular, a lot more better done, I guess.
1996 was the year that Independence Day was released, which was a hallmark of visual effects, in my opinion.
Did it came after or before?
I don't
Mission
know,
Impossible?
man. It was
But
in the
visual
same
effects
year.
were a lot
It was
different
in
in
the
Mission
same
Impossible 1 than they were in.
Mission Impossible 2, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a like Matrix came out in 1999, which was like put the special effects game to a whole nother level. So
Then we got the third one, then we got the fourth one, then we got the fifth
Speak-
one,
yes.
and at every point, Tom's character, he does something better, something bigger, something more dangerous. Just elevates everything to a whole new
And I'm
level. But
hearing
here's
there-
the thing you have to appreciate about Tom Cruise in this movie: is he goes 100%.
always.
He's not holding back. Like he's like, I'm doing Mission Impossible 5, and he puts everything he's
Listen,
got.
Bruce
into
Willis
Mission
may
Impossible.
phone stuff in. Tom Cruise never will.
That's why his movies are always good. You don't have to like him, but you know there's a good movie. You know that he put in a performance because he goes all in.
Which makes me sad that the Edge of Tomorrow went also kind of under the radar, which was a pretty cool action flick too.
Yeah. Needless to say, put Tom Cruise in a movie, we'll probably watch it. and
Definitely.
we can't
There's
wait
still a
for
few
the
movies of
Mission
his that I
Impossible.
haven't seen, but yeah,
Probably the juicy ones with Nicole Kidman in the beginning.
probably a few of the 80s ones,
But
yeah. And maybe a few.
and
from
we're
the
looking
90s.
forward to 6. They're probably gonna do 6, 5. Did
I
good
think,
at the box office.
I think he recently said in an interview, the director said in an interview that they're already planning something even better than
And if you watch
what
the
they did
fifth
in
one,
Ghost
it's-
Protocol, yeah,
they did stuff in Ghost Protocol. So to top that one off, it's like, okay, I want to see what they do.
definitely, definitely.
Moving on is the Jurassic Park / World.
It is the same.
Technically, it's set in the same universe. It's
Yes,
the
it is.
same place.
It may not be called the same. It may be divided into 2 trilogies if we get 3 Jurassic World movies.
Well, we're
but
getting
they are-
a second world. We're probably gonna do a third world as good as the moment second
Listen,
one does good
Jurassic
at the box
World
office.
did great in the box office, and it was a fun movie. I mean,
You almost went 2 billion.
almost there.
That's
man.
how big it was because people just jumped on it, and Chris Pratt, who starred in it,
Listen,
all of a sudden
Chris
his
Pratt
star
and
was...
Bryce Dallas Howard may not have the best chemistry on the screen, but they did a great job.
I like the whole high heels running in the jungle thing.
Yeah, I was
It's-
like, to me, I never go for such details.
Me neither,
but to me,
it sticks out.
was
Put
sticking
some
out.
boots on. Or at least pair of Converse.
Like even when you're watching Romancing the Stone, when Michael Douglas takes whoever the female lead was in that movie, I forget. They go through the jungle. Yeah, you'll remember after we finish recording this
Yeah.
video. Like he sees the walking heels is like, give me your shoes.
Yeah,
And
and he breaks the heels.
Yeah.
Because heels in the jungle do not mix up. But she survives whole movie running in high heels through a jungle.
And dude, and that final scene in the Jurassic World is simply amazing. And Jimmy Fallon doing the cameo was also cool. And in the Jurassic World
Well,
part,
okay,
the
let's
last-
talk about important stuff.
yeah, I was
Jeff Goldblum's coming back.
yeah, yeah.
Can
Definitely.
Jurassic World 2 be better than 1?
Yes, it can with
Jeff Goldblum, people. He's coming back.
Yeah,
That's
because
all
he
you
was
need
in
to
the
know.
first 3 movies. I don't know why they didn't put him in the Jurassic World. I have no idea. But
And
listen,
did Sam Neill's character die? He died, right?
no, but he was
Or something.
no, it was, I forget.
He's still kicking. They can bring him back at some point.
Sam
if he's
Neill
still
can
alive.
come back any. Listen, if I can see Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum again together, dude, that's a dream come true.
In a
again.
Jurassic World.
Yeah,
So yeah, 2 can be
because
1.
the Jurassic Park
Because when you
2,
put Goldblum in stuff, it just makes everything better.
just like Independence Day resurgence, man, it was better because of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, imagine how much it would suck if Goldblum wasn't in it.
Yeah, and dude, I keep trying to do Jurassic Park 2. That final scene when T-Rex goes crazy in San Diego. Listen, that movie is my least favorite in the franchise, even in that trilogy. But that final scene makes up for all the boredom that happens in that movie, man. It's just, they should have done the whole movie centered around that. So hopefully we get to see that in Jurassic World 3.
Well, we'll see exactly
If
what
not
they do
2.
with the second one.
Yeah. So on to number 6.
On to number 6. My
Can
number
you
6.
just name it, and because we'll talk about it.
It's higher on his list, so
It
it's
was, yeah,
not too much higher, but just higher. It's Star Wars.
yeah.
We'll
Star
talk
Wars.
about it when we get to his
Yeah.
list.
My number 10 is The Magnificent Seven. Now, when I first heard the theme song for this movie, it wasn't in the Magnificent Seven movie. It was in the Croatian TV show, man, which had nothing to do with Wild West. And you should remember that because we grew up on it. Anyways, when I watched The Magnificent Seven, that movie is so amazing. It's a Western, bar none. It's a remake of an old
It started
samurai
off,
movie, but
yeah,
which I've
started
seen
off with
and
Seven
didn't like very
Samurais.
much. So like to me, this is a remake that's better than the original,
But-
in my opinion. So internet you can-
Original Magnificent Seven, or
no original Seven Samurai.
everything's better than the original Seven Samurai. Nothing is better than the original Magnificent Seven.
I
Yul Brenner, Charles Bronson,
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. The list of names in Magnificent Seven, the original.
which we
That
can,
movie was so good. They made 3 more movies after it.
which were all pretty good in their own right.
Even after Yul Brenner and Steve McQueen didn't show up
They
for
bring
the third one.
they bring Lee Van Cleef later on, and you can't go wrong with Lee Van Cleef in a Western movie.
It just works. And first one was so epic, and with the reboot, they did a good job. I
Listen,
like what they do. I
they
like
did
the
the same
names
thing-
that they bring back
Yeah,
into this. I like the story that they bring back. I like the fact that they, if you want to pay tribute to the original one,
they
but,
did that too.
they make it their own.
Yeah.
And I love the characters in it. I love that they borrowed stuff from the characters in the previous ones, but they were their own people.
Yeah, and dude, and having Denzel Washington in it was like, I mean, for a Western movie to have a black guy in a lead role for a Western movie in a place set where black people are looked down upon, I mean that's kind of
Listen, Denzel, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio, what's his name? Hailey Bennett's in it, the blind dude.
I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Evan something. No, it's not. I'll remember later.
We always do. So Magnificent Seven deserves a top 10 pick, and for some reason, Westerns get on my top 10 spot. if you watch our top 10 trilogies, you know what I'm talking about. If not, click the link. Coming in at number 9. This is much higher on your list, so I don't know if you want to talk about this later.
Yeah, later.
Okay, so
There's a reason why it is what it is.
I know. It's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ethan Hawke.
Coming in at number 8. Highlander. Now,
There can be only one.
there can be only one. Listen, when I first saw this movie, it was
It
years
was the
ago.
second one, right?
It was the
Sean
second
Connery.
one. No, Sean Connery was in the first one.
No, then he comes back later on in second one or third
Yeah.
one. Probably third one.
I can't remember this.
When he comes back, that's the best one in the franchise.
The third one I can't really remember, but for some reason I remember the two the best because it's the one I've seen the most times.
Probably.
And because it's the one I've seen first, even though we kind of grew up on the cartoon that went on German TV
Yeah.
channel. Which was also kind of cool, but you couldn't understand a word, man. So yeah, and listen, this is the... Highlander is the reason I love... Well, no. It is actually, yeah. He's the reason I love Christopher Lambert because I saw Mortal Kombat after I saw Highlander. So when I saw Christopher Lambert in Mortal Kombat, that was just icing on the cake,
It's
man.
a Highlander guy.
Yeah, and he comes back later on in the... It's not a fourth movie technically, but it's a reboot from the TV show that went on in the 90s that we also never got to see. But Christopher Lambert comes back in as basically in a Sean Connery role. And they're rebooting this franchise again with another movie. So I'm hoping that they bring Christopher Lambert back because
They
he's
were
still alive.
supposed to do a Ryan Reynolds thing, but then they scrapped it, then they brought it back, so I have no idea what they're doing with it.
I don't know, but I'm hoping
know
they bring
that they-
Christopher back, man.
We know
because
that
he deserves it.
they're probably gonna do Highlander, as if when, what, and how, we have absolutely no idea.
Because they mess with the mythology of the origin of the Highlanders in the first two movies, and they go into space at one point. It gets very confusing at certain points, but it's all good, man. Like the first movie is great. I mean, they take you from Scotland to Japan to US, and dude, I mean, it's an all-around fun fantasy, modern fantasy action movie. So yeah,
And it works.
definitely.
Holds up.
Still does. Even the second one. The second one may be more timely today than it was back then.
With the shield and
With
everything.
the
man,
shield
just
that, yeah, covers the sun and protects the...
Sean Connery thing.
Dude,
Second one.
even though it's still looked upon by mass audiences and even critics, they still... I don't know why, man.
I love it.
don't
It's
know
my
why.
favorite in the franchise. They took what they did in the first one.
Even because...
They
Even
brought it into a modern world, even if you want some dystopian future kind
Yeah,
of thing.
definitely.
And they made it a whole lot better. They took the franchise to another level with the second one. And first two are probably still my favorites. Third one was alright, fourth one was alright.
We call it fourth, even though technically
Yeah.
it was its own thing, but it was a
But I loved what they do
prequel,
with it.
so to speak.
But first two are still the best, and the second one is better.
And the one that is a requel is also pretty good, even though Christopher
Yeah.
Lambert plays a small role in it, it's still pretty good. So yeah,
We like it.
coming in at number 7. This one's
Not
not
on
on
my
your
list.
list.
I was debating it, but
Listen,
I didn't watch enough of the original ones to actually put it on my list.
listen. When it comes to
I watched some of the Next Generation stuff, and I watched the J.J. Abrams verse,
Yeah.
if you would, but I didn't watch enough
The
of the old
origi-
ones.
well, to me, Star
actually
Trek,
form a, I
because
can
we
put it
grew up
there.
on it. We basically
We grew up on Voyager. So.
Yeah, and we saw the other ones later on. But listen, I saw the Next Generation movies. I saw the J.J. verse requel thing. All three movies are pretty good in their own right, with Beyond being the best in my opinion. And out of the
Beyond's the last one.
yeah, the one that came out last summer, so
Idris Elba.
almost a year ago. So yeah,
Well, whenever Idris Elba can be your villain.
dude, what more can you ask? And Sofia Boutella in that movie kicking ass. Come on, man, you can't go wrong with the girl from Kingsman's Secret Service. And she's
And
in
we'll get
Mummy
it-
right now. Yeah.
And we're getting a fourth one in the J.J. verse.
Was that announced?
They're doing it.
Okay. I didn't know
with
that.
Chris Hemsworth apparently coming
Oh yeah,
back
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Captain
coming back
Kirk's
as
father. They're gonna
Chris
do
Pine's
some
father. Yeah.
they're gonna do some crazy time travel stuff in it.
Which
Just
actually-
I can't wait to see it.
Which actually happened in the first Next Generation movie with
Yeah.
Captain Kirk and Captain Picard. And speaking of the Captain Kirk era, listen, we saw some of the TV shows when they aired here about 15 years ago on TV. We saw a few of them. And I didn't really see all the movies. I don't really have an inclination to go back and watch those. But listen, people have been
Especially
talking...
not the original ones. Probably the Next Generation stuff, yes.
But people have been talking about Wrath of Khan for so long, and they sing praises to that movie. I had to go back, so I found it, saw it, and I really liked it. It still holds up, actually. It's a pretty fun movie. So if you're gonna watch anything from the original Star Trek stuff, even though you don't feel like watching or don't feel like going back to it, I suggest The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. Definitely great watch. Definitely one of the best movies in the entire franchise, in my opinion. So from the movies I've seen. The Next Generation movies, they don't really stick out to me except First Contact and Star Trek Generations.
Hey, when you can put Kirk and Picard in the same movie,
And
you gotta
First
jump at the
Contact has
opportunity.
Borg in it as the villain. There's also time travel in there, so it's
There's
a pretty...
Vulcans,
Yeah.
Mork and Yasko. You get all of it in one movie.
And J.J. Abrams
JJ is doing a heck of a
amazing
job.
Dude,
I know critics are all over the place, I know fans are all over the place, but the guy has successfully rebooted a couple of different franchises.
including Mission Impossible. He did the third movie.
Mission Impossible, Star Trek, Star Wars,
Because the
few
second
others.
movie in the Mission Impossible didn't do... I mean, it did
Yeah.
well, but it wasn't a well-received movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So JJ is successfully rebooting franchises and doing a good job at it.
Can we now ask for JJ and The Rock to go and reboot a franchise together?
Which one?
I don't care.
Probably. I think Rock's big enough. They could do it.
It could happen.
We could do it. We could
We
happen.
haven't seen Baywatch yet.
Ooh,
Maybe
we can have him do Angels in Garfield.
Why?
It can happen.
No! Come on, man. Anyways, coming in at number 6.
Is my number
4.
four.
So we're going to talk about it later on, but I'm just going to name drop it. Transformers. Or Bayformers.
Okay, why is my 5 not on your list?
I'll tell you why.
And how on earth did your number 4 make it on the list? And why is my number 8 your number high? You got a messed up list, man. Coming in number 5 is Mr. Indy Jones. The movie, the franchise that successfully spawned 4 movies, or successfully spawned 3 movies and another movie, not so successfully.
Even though I enjoyed Shia LaBeouf in that
multiple TV shows.
Yeah.
And multiple young indie adventures movies.
Oh,
that,
dude.
I can't even remember who did it, but I know it was somebody big. And I know they
It
were
was
good.
that River guy. Not River Phoenix, the other River.
No. But they were good movies.
Yeah.
But talking about the original, the first 3 original Indiana Jones movies, they got to stock up as some of the best trilogy-wise.
To me, the second movie doesn't exist. Just like number 4 doesn't exist. To me, it's 1 and 3. I don't like Temple of Doom. I just don't enjoy that movie whatsoever.
First one was very
Raiders
fun.
of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, to me, are the only 2 Indiana Jones movies that we should be talking about. So that's why it's not on my list. Because whenever I want to watch Indiana Jones, I always skip the number 2. Well, not
don't.
always, but
I watch them all. I even watched the 4th one. I like the 4th one. I think bringing Shia's India's son stuff, there's some weird stuff going in there.
hey, and that refrigerator scene, to me, just holds up, okay? People can say whatever they want to. Refrigerator sales might have gone up after seeing that scene, after that scene was okay. So it's like, you know, went live, so it's like, to me, that scene makes perfect sense.
I like the 4th one.
Because they used to make stuff way better and more durable in the 50s
Oh yeah.
than they do today. So it definitely makes sense that a refrigerator back then would hold off a radiation explosion. So yeah, makes perfect sense to me. You can laugh if you want to, but that's nothing to laugh about.
He was the film theory guy, dude. I didn't.
Anyways,
Coming in at number 4 is the Bayformers, as you call them.
people call them Bayformers for good reason. And you know
Because
what?
Michael Bay does a
Does a
fantastic
job.
job at him. I don't care what
listen.
you say, I don't care who you are. Transformers are some of the best action movies happening over the last, I don't know how many years.
10
years.
years. Yeah, 10ish.
And I can only be, I just hope Michael Bay keeps making them. If they want to make 20 of them, I don't care, as long as they give Michael's like, we want 20 of them.
It's the only franchise that will make sense in 3D and in space.
And we're getting more of it. We're getting
Listen,
the next one. We're
Anthony
getting
Hopkins recently said that Michael Bay is a genius, and I've been saying that for years, even before Anthony Hopkins.
Listen, first Bay movie
So
I
people have been
watched-
laughing at me for saying that for years now.
First Bay
but you
movie
know
I
what? I
watched
said
is-
it first. Not you,
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins.
First Bay movie we watched was Armageddon, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
man, it was either Armageddon or it wasn't the. It might have been. We might have seen. I know we saw The Rock on VHS.
It was either Armageddon or The Rock, and if you want to get introduced to Michael Bay, those are very good movies. But what he's doing now with the Transformers, I just love that stuff, man.
Listen, he
Listen,
may not
I-
want to do those movies himself, but
But he's getting more open to the idea of doing it.
not because the studio allows him to make his own stuff after he does these movies.
Yeah,
because
it's like
he
do the
makes money.
Transformer movies, make money for us. I mean, but
It's the reason we
let
got
you do
Pain and
30
Gain,
hours.
which wasn't necessarily
I
a
kinda-
great movie, but it was a great insight. It was based on a true story, and
I didn't like that movie.
I liked it for what it was supposed to be. A look inside a human psyche. I mean, when
That
you
was a messed up movie.
yeah, but because of the characters that are in it, and characters in it made perfect sense.
With
I
Tony
mean,
Shalhoub, Mark Wahlberg.
and The Rock. And seriously, like, it was based on things that actually took place. And sometimes you wonder, why do people do stuff that they do? And that movie is a perfect look into, like, why do people do stuff that they do? What goes on inside someone's head? I
Back
don't
to
usually want to know,
Transformers.
but... And we can mention Michael Bay without mentioning Bad Boys, even though I don't really like those movies. I don't like them. The only reason I like those movies is because of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's chemistry, but other than that, it was just meh.
You're hopeless. Moving on to number 3. Is your number higher? You want to do that later?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
You want to talk about my number 6 now?
let's talk about your number 6, my number 5, which is Star Wars. Okay, this is, listen, making this list was difficult to begin with. Putting Star Wars so up high is also a difficult thing to do.
Putting Star Wars on this list was not hard.
Definitely.
Putting it in this high, 5 for him, 6 for me, was difficult.
Listen, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan out there. I'm not the one who, I don't know.
And we actually like prequels. Or at least I do.
I like them for what they're supposed to be. I can find good stuff in them. I'm not good. Listen, I'll sing them praises for stuff that they did right. And for stuff that doesn't hold up, it just doesn't hold up. And the prequels
That's
are
why
the,
you focus on the stuff that holds
yeah,
up.
but the prequels are the prequels. Well,
Episode 1 to
to
3.
three. The George Lucas after the special editions trilogy is the reason that I put this franchise so high, because we get the original trilogy, we get Force Awakens and Rogue One. In the meantime, we get Clone Wars animated series and Star Wars Rebels animated series, which should put this franchise a lot higher.
And a ton of books.
Download of books and new comic books, which are all in the canon, Star Wars canon. So
Disney bought Lucasfilm and
like
stuff's
5 years
happening.
ago. So
And they
4.
haven't stopped working on stuff.
Definitely.
We're getting episode 8 in December.
Yeah,
They're already
we're
working on
getting a
episode
Han
9. There's
Solo movie next summer. So in May, I think it comes out. But you know,
So there's stuff happening with the Star Wars, and we're practically gonna have a Star Wars movie every year.
and John Williams was working on all of the movies too. Like his scores elevate even the prequels. I mean, and
Yeah.
the stuff that they were able to do with the technology in 2000s and with Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Like, there was some cool stuff, and seeing how Palpatine became the evil Emperor, and seeing how Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader. All great points, excellent positives in these movies. To me, A New Hope will
Makes one wonder what would have happened had George Lucas actually stuck with what he wanted to do instead of indulging the fans who took so much dump on him.
Listen, Jar Jar Binks definitely does not hold up as a character. Not even technologically even, but which...
I think it does.
he was a marvel, but of technology back when Phantom Menace came out.
Well, you can hate the prequels if you want, we got it.
And I have nothing against Ewoks, I love Ewoks.
But there's so much
I will
stuff
defend
happening with the
Ewoks
Star Wars franchise now, you can't
forever.
really... There's gonna be... Listen, when you can put up a movie every year, and when you can keep it a good movie...
And the original cast coming back, I mean, yeah, rest in peace,
Other than
Carrie
Han
Fisher,
Solo,
but
yeah.
we lost one of the original cast like over the winter. But listen, she's gonna appear in the next movie. Carrie Fisher will,
So
Princess
it's gonna be
Leia.
fun to see how they pay tribute to it, because
Yeah.
she's not gonna be in the 9.
Yeah.
At least that's what they say. So there's gonna be some special stuff going on with the 8. It's gonna make the whole movie more special, and it's gonna make Disney
More
pat
money.
their own backs, because
The-
Episode 8 is gonna kill at the box office.
Yeah,
It might break 2 billion.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
It might break 2 billion. That's what we're talking
It
about.
might, but who knows? To me, Rogue One also elevated the entire franchise to a whole new level. Just gave the entire thing more sense, and all the
And Episode 4 became that much more.
yeah. To me, New Hope was the first movie that we did see, and to me it will always be the favorite because we get the most out of Luke in that movie for some reason or another. Even though,
Until Episode 8.
oh man,
There's gonna be a whole lot of Luke
Dude,
in Episode 8.
listen, I can't wait to see. I mean, I saw an interview with Mark Hamill in 1985, and an interviewer asked him like, what do you got planned for the future, or like for Star Wars or whatever? And he says George Lucas asked him if he wants to do another Star Wars movie in 2011, which was like 40 years from that point on. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing in 40 years. So
George Lucas, people.
yeah, and I'm so
Man
glad.
takes a hand.
And dude, seeing Mark Hamill do a whole bunch of stuff now, like he was Joker to us when we were growing up, even after we saw the Star Wars movies, and he appeared here and there in Kevin Smith's movie and a few others.
Flash TV show.
Both Flash TV shows actually. So
Same role.
same role, yeah.
Moving on to number 4.
My number 4. Okay, I know why this this didn't make your list, but to me,
I
it
like
start-
the movies, but
Listen,
4? So if you had to binge watch anything from 5 to 10 and you're 4, you're gonna go with the 4.
listen. You know my distaste for French movies, but Asterix and Obelix are a completely different thing, man.
They're
Okay?
probably at this point they're an institution. They're not a movie or a
And
franchise.
listen, they're not just that. Listen, they were based on a series of comic books. They had series and series of animated movies come out on
Good movies.
VHS, which are all pretty good, and therefore that's why they're on bigger spot
4.
than Star Wars is. Simply because there's less of them, and if I'm gonna binge watch
There's
3 or
the
4
fourth.
movies, if I'm gonna binge watch 3 or 4 movies, it's gonna be Asterix and Obelix. I'm sorry, because they're funny, entertaining, don't last long, won't take up an entire day to watch, and I can just have fun reading subtitles and watching Gerard Depardieu make a fool out of himself.
Okay. Your number 3 is my number 8, and we actually talked about it
But
already.
Mission Impossible is number 3, most definitely.
And now my number 2 is your number 1, and your number
So we'll talk.
2 is my number 3.
Let's talk about.
Let's talk about your number 2 first.
Yeah, let's talk about my
Because
number
we'll
2.
skip it on my number 3.
Yeah,
It's Fast and the Furious.
yeah, Fast and the Furious. You can't. I mean, when this movie came out, first one when it came out, I thought, and I talked about this in our video game whatever top list. When this movie came out, Or was it our Fast and the Furious? Whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna say
I
it
think it
again.
was video games.
Yeah, I thought it was based on Need for Speed video games. It turned out it wasn't, but it just might have been. It was actually,
He took inspiration,
It was
if you would, from Point Break.
yeah, it was a remake of Point Break. Not word
But
for
instead
word,
of
but for plot
surfing-
point for plot point.
Instead of surfing, they used extreme sports, or in this
And
case,
people give
fast
grief to
cars.
Fast and Furious because of that. And I'm here to tell you, everybody steals from everybody. I already said, Quentin Tarantino said that he steals from every movie ever made, and that's true. How many movie makers, script writers, even
You see
writers,
his shoe, he's glowing.
yeah, stole from Alfred Hitchcock. Strangers on the Train, Rear Window. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Listen,
I mean,
you always have people taking stuff from other
other-
movies to make their own movies better.
or
And
not
we-
necessarily better, or just good, or
Yeah.
just tell a good story which is based on something else. They just want to tell it in a different way. That always happens. There is no
So you
more
can't
original
go-
ideas.
yeah.
We exist in a world where all the original ideas that we could have thought of were already thought of. So we're all borrowing and twisting them and spinning them off to make different stuff from what has already been done. So you can't fault Fast and the Furious for taking something that was.
And after the second movie and the third movie, which were not critically acclaimed, I think even
Listen.
at this point people don't like him too much, but I do.
They don't. Number 2, to me, is the least favorite in the entire franchise. But number 3,
Here's the thing about two. The second one brings us Ronan, but it
Yeah.
also gives us insight into Paul Walker's character that you did not get in the first movie.
exactly.
And then the third one takes whatever his
Completely
name
different spin. Sean, the main character is Sean. I forgot
No, the
guy.
actor.
I forgot his name.
is. He plays LaSalle in NCIS New Orleans.
Does a great job in NCIS New Orleans.
Georgia boy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, and we know New Orleans is not in Georgia.
Yeah. It's New Orleans. But
It's in Louisiana. We know.
yeah. But you're looking at third one, he goes to Tokyo, and all of a sudden you get introduced to
Into
a whole new
World.
world, whole new characters, and
We get Han in this movie.
Khan is introduced, and Dom comes at the end to
Because-
make everything fit together. At that point, there was actually talk of a 4 already. They just didn't know how to do it, would they do it, and then in order to give, to make Tokyo Drift more special, Dom actually shows up at the end
And in the
to
post
kind
credit
of,
scene.
yeah,
Because he didn't appear in the second movie.
to kind of validate the whole thing, to say, you know what, this is all part of the same place.
Franchise, yeah.
So I hope we get, okay, Han obviously came, died, might get resurrected, some
Yeah,
people
and
say.
technically,
and-
third movie comes in chronologically much later on as number 6 or something. I don't know, but
So kind of Han died, but he
After
might
fo-
actually still be alive, so we might see him again. But we also might
We
see
don't
LaSalle's character again. I hope
he did appear in the last movie.
No, he was supposed to, but he didn't.
Oh, he was in 7 then. I know he was in one of the recent ones.
I'm not sure. I think he was supposed to come, but I hope he
I know he was
gets
in
a bigger
7.
role.
That was 7 then.
I
Because
can't-
I know they all appeared in number 7.
He gets a bigger role, I hope, in the next movie. I hope they bring him in. I know his schedule is probably tight with all the NCI stuff, but I hope they can fit him in and make him part. Because, especially with loss of Paul Walker's character, I think he would be a nice addition to the family. If you
Definitely.
would.
Well, he already is part of the
Yeah.
family. I mean, just because they're far away doesn't make them any less of a family.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 8 movies, they brought in The Rock in number 4, right?
Yeah.
It was
no,
number-
they brought him in number 5.
Wasn't he in number 4 hunting them down first?
I'm not
And
sure.
then
I
in
think
number
it was
5,
He was hunting him down.
and then
in
was 6, he was helping them. Okay, I know he was hunting them down in 5th, most definitely, because, I mean, that whole heist scene in Brazil and with the safe on the streets of Rio de Janeiro.
and
I
the
mean,
switcheroo.
dude, that,
And Rock chasing Win in jumping off buildings in the...
dude, in number 7, yeah.
No, even in number 5, when they're in Rio, in the slums.
Yeah.
Dude, that's some great scenes.
And
And,
the-
then bringing...
And the airplane scene in the number 6.
and then bringing Luke Evans into the franchise as a villain. Then bringing Jason Statham in as a villain. And then twisting
and
the whole
bringing in
thing
Kurt
back.
Russell as an unknown entity.
As a nobody, if you would.
He is Mr. Nobody. I
Hence
mean,
the
that was
nobody.
to me that was
They
one of
keep
the favorite
finding
additions.
ways
And they brought in Charlize Theron as the villain number 8.
They brought
and after
Scott
Jason,
Eastwood, they brought Helen Mirren in. So there's all this stuff happening here that it's like they go bigger, they go better each movie, and I love it.
Definitely.
I put it higher on my list, but I can't put it higher than the number 1 and 2. I can't. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, let's talk about my number 1, your number 2, which is basically, this was a...
And my number 1 isn't even... Is it on your list?
Yeah, it is, almost at the end. I was debating...
Like
9. Should have been a 10.
MCU comes in as my number 2, his number 1.
MCU
stands for Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Universe.
So you're looking everything from first Iron Man to now, and
I'm gonna say first Hulk. 2003 Ang Lee's Hulk, because that basically is the first movie, even though it wasn't exactly MCU. It was later on, it was attached in, I don't know how, but...
where we saw
because
Edward Norton
Incredible-
take on the role of Bruce Banner and actually do a good job at it.
Yeah, and because it did kind of continue after Ang Lee's Hulk too, so it was technically, it's all in the timeline, so to speak. And yeah, Iron Man might have kicked off the MCU, and then we got Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, and we got
Well,
Captain
Marvel got their
America,
stuff
and we
together.
got Thor movies.
We got
and
3 different phases. There's 4, 5, and 6 in the works or
there's
whatever.
like, what, 15, 17 movies now?
A lot of movies. We're getting
we're getting
Spider-Man
at
this
least
year.
7,
We're getting
yeah.
Thor this year. Thor 3 this year. We're getting Black Panther next year.
Ant-Man and
There-
the Wasp.
There's stuff happening. We get the Avengers, Infinity War. It's growing, it's getting bigger, and all of a sudden
There's no stopping Marvel and Disney from...
they're gonna go on for a while, and
Yeah.
as long as they can keep movies good,
Listen,
the story
yeah, we
as
got
they are,
Doctor
they're doing a great
Strange,
job.
which they are using their own formula. They're basically regurgitating their own formula, but so far it still works. It's still working. So if it's not wrong, why fix it, right?
Yeah.
If it's not broken, don't.
There's only so much stuff you can say about MCU, so we said it.
You all, I
You
mean,
know it, you
the
love
box office doesn't lie
it.
about.
No matter what they tell you
MCU.
about superhero fatigue and stuff, it's not happening. They're
And-
doing movies
and listen-
so good, and people are asking for them.
This may not.
They're not gonna stop.
Technically, this may not be MCU, but what they're doing with Agents of Shield and the Defenders on Netflix, and I'm talking about all the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and what they're gonna do with their new shows with the Inhumans and with the
Cloak and
Dagger, and I think there's one also
The Runaways.
The Runaways on Hulu. Yeah.
There's stuff happening. Marvel
may not
is
all be
expanding
connected
not
in a way,
just in the
but
movieverse, but they're doing stuff.
And the
all
stuff
over
they're doing with
place.
the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and the animated stuff. I mean, come on, man.
And Ultimate Spider-Man. There's so much stuff
Ultimate
happening.
Spider-Man's over. But they did a great job with it for
There's
a while it
so much
lasted.
stuff happening in here that it's fun.
Yeah, dude.
Can't go wrong with Marvel.
No.
You know you're getting a good product no matter what movie they put up, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Moving on to my number 1.
Yeah.
Why, where's
Let's
all the-
parlay.
No parlaying, man. Next one to say parlay gets shot. Captain Sparrow. Captain Jack Sparrow. Pirates of the Caribbean, coming, and my number
I
1
think-
is franchises.
Yeah. We talked about it a few
Enough
weeks ago in the
Pirates
preview.
of the Caribbean,
Number
Dead Man
5.
Tell No Tales
Tales.
review,
AKA
I
Captain
love-
Salazar's Revenge.
aka a whole lot of stuff. But, listen, from the first one, the opening scene of the first one cooks you.
The opening scene of the 5th one should hook anybody, even if they didn't watch any of the previous movies.
True. But you can't go wrong with putting Jack Sparrow in the movie.
Listen, this whole franchise is based around Jack Sparrow.
Listen,
You take
there's
him out of the equation, these movies don't work. They
No,
don't make any sense. They're just boring ass movies.
They're
Boring
just
pirates movies.
weird pirate movies.
It was boring pirates movies. Second one to me is better
Actually,
than people give it credit for.
A lot better. Third one, I think people like, yeah, even you. Don't like the third one. I love the third one.
Number 4, it was meh for the first part of the movie. Then in the ending, it kind of picks up. I like what they did with it because it did something differently from what I was expecting. Like, listen,
And fifth one did stuff.
and 5th one went. I mean, they just went with the whole everything that happened so far. They just took it to a whole different level. And what they did with Captain Salazar and his ship, I mean.
and every other character ever shows up in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
There's so much stuff happening.
And the score, come on, man.
I can
Anyways.
listen to the score. Just.
Dun-dun-dun.
But you can't go wrong with the movie. I like movies. Give me Jack Sparrow talking to himself for 2 hours and I'll watch it.
I would definitely. I would watch him read the
I mean,
comic,
Jack Sparrow,
the phone book.
yeah.
If you millennials know what a phone book is.
Because Jack Sparrow just works. I mean, you're watching Pirates of the Caribbean because of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the only draw to me. He's the only draw to Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
But he's the only thing that makes him that special.
Yep.
He's Johnny Depp.
Johnny, I can't see
And
anybody else.
if I gotta binge watch any franchise, any.
And then you come and complain to me how I would rather binge watch Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah. Sorry.
Dude,
You get fun, you get entertainment, you get
get the
action,
same
you can
thing
laugh your ass, you laugh your
you
ass
get the
off.
same thing in Asterix and Obelix.
No, not to that level. Asterix here, Pirates are here.
That's what you. That's just your opinion, man.
Only thing that matters.
Well, to you,
That's our top 10 franchises of,
all time so far.
in our opinion.
Yeah, we skipped some.
Didn't even mention a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
We did a trilogy list that has some other stuff to it. You
Yeah.
can give it a look
Yeah, we'll put the link somewhere here. You'll see it.
here. Usually
Sometimes
it's like here.
it's like right here, or like this.
So in the meantime, we'll be back. Try
Yeah.
to be back next week. You can like, subscribe, comment.
Please
Tell us
do.
let us know what you think, whether you like it or not, or what are your top franchises. What movies do you like to watch in general? Which movies do you don't like to watch?
Yeah.
You want to talk movies? We can talk movies.
Yeah. We're always accessible. The links to our social media is in the description below. You
Yeah.
can always shoot us a message or tweet at us or Instagram us. We're, yeah.
That's it.
For
Take care
today,
and see you next time.
Bash Bros up.